webinar for today, it will be about good practices in social inclusion led by SSE actors in the Mediterranean area. Of course, through this event will be presented the strategies for SSEs in social inclusion and their impacts and their roles on poverty reduction in our Mediterranean countries. Some of best practices will be presented in our webinar. And of course, I would like to welcome our colleague in Birzeit University, Serafi, Dr. Imad Serafi. It's a pleasure to be with us today, Dr. Imad. And of course, I hope that our today meeting will be fruitful and we will have new ideas for discussions and for the learning from each other. And now I give the floor to the moderator, Dr. Sama. You are mute, Dr. Sama.
Am I unmuted now? I'm not.
No, now it's okay.
Yeah. So welcome again to our seventh webinar. Today we have a very interesting actually webinar that will discuss the social inclusion and poverty reduction related to the social solidarity economy. So we will have the webinar dimension, or like the way that we will discuss on this webinar. We will start with Dr. Imad Serafi, who is the director of the Center for Development Studies and the Master Program in Community Development at Birzeit University. Dr. Imad completed his PhD studies in International Development in University of Vienna in Austria. He has more than 15 years experience in the field of development studies. His research interests are on social transformation and Palestinian community, rural development, and the development of theoretical and methodological tools that further development theory. So Dr. Imad will talk today about the social and solidarity economy, challenges and prospects in Palestinian context. And he will talk for 15 minutes. And then after that, we will have the second part of the webinar where we have 3 case examples from the 5 capitalized project within MedRiSSE. We will listen to the different experiences and success stories, because as you know, this webinar is a learning space for all of us to learn from each other. And we have 3 interesting projects that they will share with us related to social solidarity economy and poverty reduction. And then we will open the floor for discussions and comments. And then we will go back to Dr. Imad Serafi to make the final conclusion with all the experiences and the contribution that we will have. So I'll give you the space, Dr. Imad.
Okay, thank you all. Thank you to our hosts and to An-Najah University and partners in the project. Thank you for inviting me to speak. It is a very important topic to speak on, the social and solidarity economies. I will offer a general overview and some insights as I was only part of this a few days ago, so I didn't have much time to get deeply in the topic. However, I will focus on some aspects that I have researched before and more linked to social and solidarity economies, agriculture, specifically rural areas, and in the Palestinian context. It is great to see that many actors, including the government, international organizations, and people at the grassroots level are taking more interest in different modes of economic and social organization, particularly in a very complex context in Palestine. However, in this sort of opening words, my intention is not to simply offer praise for development models and new paths in mainstream development without contextualizing the way we think about them. At the same time, I do not intend to only offer critical perspectives without also thinking about the positive impact, particularly on the ground in relation to social and solidarity economies and cooperatives. So my intention is to call for a complex view of social and solidarity economies within the framework of local and international development. One lingering issue is, of course, the one-size-fits-all approach to development that we must be careful of, and to really think about how these economic models could work within the Palestinian context. Palestine offers a unique context. There are many structural challenges that cannot be ignored, whether we think about social, economic, and political life. The big questions have remained over decades unchanged in relation to how can there be development under occupation and within the settler colonial reality. How can an economy operate under the restraints faced by the occupation? We know from various research projects the difficulty in relation to provision of services and access of services, particularly in areas such as Area C, etc. So these are important questions that are yet to be answered by development experts who are designing interventions in the Palestinian context, and how we can move beyond, small scale and survival related understandings of development. So at the same time, at the international level, we have to remember development aid is important, but also nations offering such support should take responsibility in challenging the brutal breaches of international law, especially as today international funding is becoming more directly politicized, at the same time with international and military support to the occupation and the settlement enterprise. So there is, of course, a responsibility of nations in relation to that. So the point being, we cannot think of social and solidarity economies without putting them in the larger context. Moving on to the next level is that, of course, many schools of thought within development do address the need for production and the productive sectors, and even schools that advocate for state protection of productive sectors. More importantly, rural agriculture, village agriculture, etc. So these are things also to think about in relation to ideas such as agro businesses, etc., and the interaction with the village agriculture. Also within this complex reality, the challenges faced by in relation to the sovereignty of the government due to the occupation. So we still must look to the lives of people on the ground in marginalized areas, to think also about the challenges and what could be done. As I said, my previous research in relation to the topic has mostly focused on agriculture and rural areas. So this is what I will be mostly speaking on. The reality in rural areas or frontier areas in Palestine is that of limited access to resources, land restrictions, attacks by the Israeli army and settlers, and increasing challenges. This has also led to marginalization related to the limited provision of services resulting from the occupation. So people are also faced with complex forms of violence that make agriculture very difficult in some areas. In addition to direct violence, in many research projects, we see instances of the takeover of water resources, the confiscation of agricultural equipment, in addition to larger issues such as the environmental violence, such as settlement waste, etc. Also, Palestinian producers are faced with many challenges, as I said, lack of water, land restrictions, but also competition with subsidized Israeli products, which many times enter the Palestinian market. These are, of course, similar to global trends in the third world, where economies were forced to unsubsidize agricultures while competing with European subsidized agriculture, leading to unfair prices and exploitation. And this is an area where social solidarity economies and cooperatives have potential within such framework. This must be coupled with conscious consumption patterns locally and globally, and frameworks such as support for local production, local farmers, and local cooperatives, and a boycott movement as well. But of course, we have to remember that social and solidarity models and cooperative models of different forms have existed throughout Palestinian history, including simple grassroots models based on self-reliance. Most notably in Palestinian history, the first Intifada, where such economic models were not separated from the political and social terrains and were a means of disengagement from the reliance on the Israeli economy. Today, it is more complex. There's a lot of things entering into the production process, such as technologies, seeds, and various parts of the value chain that increase such economic dependence and reliance. However, there is a recent trend, rising trend in social solidarity economies and cooperatives that increase their presence, although with some risks. One main challenge is NGOization, transformation of cooperatives into NGOs. In some instances, we remember that independence is important. However, the purpose of such economic social models should be linked also to what is needed locally. In relation to NGOization, the lack of cooperative culture and individualization are usually in research around cooperatives and are seen in Palestine. Sometimes individual models are still being framed as cooperative models. Another important challenge is economic orientation for productive sectors. Does it remain to be about profits? Is it about self-sufficiency? How does this fit into the larger economic framework, the larger economy? Noting the challenges faced by productive sectors in Palestine. I understand that a main issue is inclusiveness, poverty. These are important issues, but we should also think about what are the main questions in the Palestinian context in relation to social solidarity economies and cooperatives. In my research on positive aspects of such models was that they were able to provide better access to markets, agricultural services, protection of prices, which is a big one in some sectors, in addition to taking on over time becoming union-like structures in some situations, offering representation and protection for people who are part of such models. These are, for examples of what successful models can look like when they become structures for their members that can also advocate for them on the policy level, in addition to supporting the community level. Cooperatives and social solidarity economies can offer support also in relation to the violence of the occupation, in agricultural examples. There were examples of cooperatives offering contributions to losses from the occupation or participating in activities protecting land. Again, there is an increase in these models of social solidarity in Palestinian areas, not only production, but also consumption, including markets, festivals, and conscious buying efforts related to supporting local products. This is important. However, there should be more discussions on how these aspects can be scaled up and better linked, in addition to better partnership between various actors in the development process, including the government, the NGOs, and the grassroots. All in all, I want to stress the positive potential of cooperatives and social and solidarity economies that should be coupled with awareness raising and better legal infrastructure. At the time I was doing research, I have talked with the Cooperative Work Agency, who were aware of legal challenges and were ready to work for improvements in that framework, in addition to the importance of social support and coordination between different forms of social and solidarity economy. Again, I mean, putting things into perspective in relation to foreign funding, despite structural issues that and the need for better addressing the issue of the occupation, but based on research, we still see important work that offers people who do not have such help much needed support. This includes rehabilitation of water networks, infrastructure, agricultural roads. However, in this complex situation, must be coupled with serious work towards accountability and international law. Again, this is a very general overview and a very specific angle on the topic. And I guess what we really have today is a more detailed discussion, because we have actual experiences from people who are part of such models. So I was just hoping to open the discussion and offer some insights, and looking forward to hear more from the experiences of the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Imad. It's really interesting. You gave us a really good background about the situation and the reality of the Palestinian context and the social solidarity economy that we keep talking about it. And we always have hopes for future. So I'm not gonna ask anything now, but we will move to, because of the time, I know that we are restricted with the time. So I will move to our first contribution from, it's like a case example from the More Than a Job. We will have two success experiences. The first one, I mean, we have lots of interesting stories with More Than a Job, but this is the two we thought it's interesting to highlight on this webinar. So we will start with Asala, and both of them, they were part of our sub-grants through the PTSD. I hope I said the name right. And they got the training with them, and they were benefited from More Than a Job. So we will start with Asala, with two sisters. They are architects, and they decided to start their own project, Amani and Amna. Amna will start. So I'll give you the floor, Amna.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for having me. It is really a pleasure. My name is Machado. I am an architect. And today I would like to introduce for our project Asala Pieces. Of course, I have my sister is also founder for Asala Pieces. So I will just like to share with you some presentations so you know more better about our project. Just give me some moments. Okay. Okay. So okay, I will. It is clear. Yeah. So first of all, if you are non-Arabic speaker, Asala means it is an Arabic word which means originality. And for us, we are a Palestinian brand for accessories and jewelry. And that what we try to do in Asala, even our name represent what we are trying to do. And let me just think, any of you, think with me, if I ask you today, what is the first thing that you got in your mind when I ask for Palestinian jewelry? Anyone have any idea? Maybe tell me. Okay, I will tell you. So if you go to any search engine, any store, any website, the only thing mostly you will find is the Palestinian map, the Palestinian flag, which is something good, but in the same time, it is not what really presents Palestine. For me, as an architect, as designer, someone who go deep in architect design and culture, in this stuff, know that Palestine is really rich to present it in a bit of deep way that we try in the same time, save our culture, save our architecture. And what that is was the problem, the huge gap in what we found. Even the designer for this gallery, it is not from the Palestinian hand, and that's what our project tried to do. So I would just show you this project. It is Lifta village. If you don't know Lifta, it is a village located in Jerusalem. Unfortunately, it is partly destroyed and controlled by the Israeli occupation. If you go and see how Lifta is really beautiful place to get inspired. And when I was walking in the architecture side, that was my inspiration to go for Asala. So here's the buses that we try to do in Asala, that we got inspiration, collect data, picture really from our culture, make designs, create them, protect the design, packaging, branding, so that we really have Palestinian brand. See, here are some of our drawings, what we try to do. I will go and show you our website. Maybe if you want to try, see it. So here is our website, as you can see. So these elements, these products, it is like, as I said, abstract, inspired from our culture, our really, architectural design. These are cheese shape. When you see the shape of artists, it is inspired from the dam of the rock. That it is really represent you. And we try to even the material, use simple material in a simple way. As I see here, if you can see our culture, our, here are some products. I will go briefly. Here you can see. So I would say our goal and our vision in Asala, our goal is to let our customers be our success in the partner, which that means you are a customer as a woman, you try to leave a message. You not just wear a pieces. No, it is more than that. You try to say, yeah, this predicts, it is represent something. It is represent Palestine. You try to affect other. And me personally, as Amna, I would try to say to every woman, you are really beautiful. And by wearing our pieces, we don't try to make you more beautiful. No, we try to just, give you a way to present yourself, to help your community, to support Palestinian culture, which at the end of the day will be the long-term effect that we all try to do, in a sustainable, that was speaking when, in our training, that you need to, when you need to design a product, you need to see the long term of the product that will leave effect in your community. You just don't, sell a product and that's it, because at the end of the day, you will not have the loyalty for your customer. You will see just a customer is customer. No, but here in today, we say for our customer, you play a huge role in our, project. And yeah, that's it. I finish. If you,
If you tell us a little bit about how your training and experience with the project, how it influenced or impacted your project.
Yeah, of course. I would say the way you would learn the best way how to approach your customer. So that's the differences. Like the social media thing, it is also the way how you present your idea. It is not just book the product and sell it. No, it takes a process. Let's say you book the product, then the way have you presented, the way you deal with customer in social media, especially because our website, we are a website, we are an e-commerce online. We don't have on-site still, hopefully in the future. But the way promote your ideas, promote your product, it is really important, more than the product. It is more than the product itself. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm sure that later on we will have more questions and
anyone will come to.
Thank you.
Anyone
may I ask you to stop the share screen so we can move to our
of course.
next case example.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now we'll go to another project. It's a flower land, and as Dr. Imad was talking about agriculture and how it is important for Palestinian steadfastness and the protection of land. So we have another initiative or project that started as well. It's grow rose flowers intended for picking and use in coordinating bouquets, wedding halls, and events. So we will have Farah. She finished her master in law, and then she found she was unemployed, and then she started this project. So Farah, you are with us. Farah معنا. Farah will talk in Arabic, so now you have to switch languages to English translation.
مساء الخير. أنا رح أحكي بالعربي لأنه بحس إنه صراحة بيوصلنا للفكرة بشكل أسهل من اللغة الإنجليزية. هلا إحنا مشروعنا هو بلش المشروع إنه أنا فرح خريجة الماجستير بالقانون والاقتصاد، وكمان عندي زوجي هو خريج هندسة ميكاترونكس. بلشنا إنه في عنا أرض، في عنا مياه. إحنا مشروعنا قائم في منطقة سي، هي منطقة أصلاً مهددة في المصادرة، وهي أراضي بشكل نزاع بشكل مستمر عليها. فبلشنا نفكر في وجود مشروع خاص فينا اللي هو المشروع اللي هو أكثر ربحاً أيضاً إلنا. كان هو زراعة الأزهار اللي هو النوع الأول بفلسطين، اللي هو حالياً مش موجود في الضفة الغربية أصلاً، غير مشروع واحد موجود في منطقة الجنوب. إحنا بنعرف إنه الورد كان عندنا بوصل للضفة الغربية من خلال قطاع غزة، بس لسوء الظروف إنه الاحتلال الإسرائيلي سكر على غزة، فصار المصدر الأول للورد هو الاحتلال الإسرائيلي بجودة قليلة. ولكن إحنا الاستهلاك الفلسطيني كثير عالي من الورد، بحسب الدراسات إنه تقريباً 10 مليون سنوياً إحنا بنستهلك. فإحنا اعتمادنا الأول على الاحتلال الإسرائيلي في استهلاك الورد في الضفة الغربية. فمن هون إحنا بلشنا نعمل هاي المشروع بإنتاج أزهار الجوري. كمان إحنا استغلينا الأرض اللي موجودة عندنا، واستغلينا مياه من محطة التنقية. فبالتالي إحنا أقمنا مشروع أيضاً حافظنا فيه على البيئة. استغلينا مياه معالجة من محطة التنقية موجودة في قريتنا. هاي المياه أصلاً هي مياه إحنا ما بندفع عليها مصاري، فبالتالي هون إحنا بنشجع ثقافة فلسطينية على استغلال هاي المياه اللي غير مستغلة، وبنحافظ على المياه الصالحة للشرب والقليلة. هلا إحنا المنتج الأساسي تاعنا هو الورد. الورد كل شخص هو بيحبه، كل شخص هو بيستخدمه. كل مناسباتنا بناخد إحنا ورد، زياراتنا للأفراح للأمراض، بكل الأوقات إحنا بنستخدم الورد. هيك بشكل مختصر إحنا المشروع تاعنا. هلا المشروع أنا شوي بعيد عن مجال التخصص اللي أنا اشتغلت فيه، بالتالي إحنا بدنا نحكي من هون، لأنه إحنا كنساء فلسطينيات أو كصبايا فلسطينيات إحنا بنقدر نستغل أي إشي موجود عندنا بموارد لإحنا نحقق الإشي اللي إحنا بنحبه. أنا كتير بحب الورد، أنا كتير كنت بشتري ورد، فمن هون بلشت إنه أنا أفكر في مشروع يكون موجود عندي كهواية أكثر من إشي قليل شوي موجود في فلسطين.
فرح بنفع تحكي لنا بس شوي إنه كيف المشروع ومشاركتك بالتدريبات مع شركاء فنية المستدامة أثرت عليكي وعلى تطوير مشروعك، وإذا صار عندكم موظفين أو لا؟
تمام، صحيح. هلأ في البداية إحنا كانت بشكل مباشر عم بنبيع الورد للمحلات، بس من خلال الدورات والتدريبات إحنا صار في عنا صفحة إلكترونية، صار في عنا مواقع، صار في عنا تسويق من ناحية تانية، فصرنا ندور على خطط تانية لنكبر المشروع، لنصير معروفين أكتر، لنصير قصص أكتر. فصار في عنا خطة استراتيجية تانية اللي من خلالها إحنا صرنا نبيع بشكل مباشر عن طريق السوشيال ميديا للأفراد، نوصلهم للبيوت، لأي مكان بدهم إياه. صار في عنا تصميمات مختلفة، صار في عنا يعني غير التصميمات، صار في عنا نعرف كيف إحنا نزين، كيف إحنا نضبط الشكل الباقة، كيف إحنا نشتغلها بشكل مرتب، كيف إحنا نشتغلها بشكل ممنهج أكتر. صار في عنا وقت إنه نرتب كيف نشتغل، وغير هيك صار في عنا ناس كمان متطوعين، يعني صارت في ناس أكتر عم تسمع عن المشروع بشكل أكتر، فصار في ناس عم تيجي عم بتكون معنا بشكل مستمر، عم بتساعدنا في المزرعة من خلال السوشيال ميديا، صرنا معروفين بشكل أكتر من خلال الخطة الاستراتيجية اللي إحنا تعلمناها بدوراتنا. بالدورة الأخيرة اللي إحنا أخذناها كيف إحنا نبيع وكيف إحنا نفرجي الناس إحنا هينا موجودين.
شكرا كثير فرح، وأكيد ممكن بعدين إنه يعني نرجع نحكي معك كمان مرة. شكرا لمشاركتك. And now I think we will go to another, these two examples are from Modern Job. I just want to remind you that MedRiSSE focus on 5 capitalized projects that each have different approach to work on social solidarity autonomy. So now I will move to our, I'm sorry if I say it not in a right way because it's the language, it's the Association La Casa de Tots, I think, with Celia Di Valle Agola. I'm not sure if I spell it in a right way, and it's from Spain. So Celia, the floor is yours.
Hi. Can everybody hear me and see me?
Hi. Yes, thank you.
Yes. Okay. So first of all, thank you for having us here. For us, it's very important to share our work with and our methodology with other people in other countries. Second of all, sorry for my low quality of my camera and my audio, but my laptop is very old. And last but not least, I'm going to share my screen because I'm going to show you some videos as well. I don't know if okay, you can see it?
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay. So let's get started. I think I have here my notes. So welcome and good morning, everybody. I'm Felia. I'm from Association Casa de Todos, which we could translate as Everyone House, I guess, association. We are located in one of the districts with the highest number of social excluded areas of Seville. The entire district is divided in 8 different neighborhoods and is characterized by a large immigrant population, a significant number of elderly people, a high employment rate, low quality jobs, a lack of higher education, and a very low family economy. So as a result, there are several barriers to access to new technologies. In addition to this particular situation, it is worth mentioning that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, all bureaucratic processes have been digitized, and nowadays, even the more simple thing, for example, even a schedule a doctor appointment appointment requires knowing how to use mobile phones. So that is our digital literacy project aims to provide the members of our community with necessary knowledge and confidence to safely handle technological device. Many neighbors of this area come to our organization seeking help with simple processes as downloading social security certificates, scheduling appointment with the city council, applying for subsidies, or asking how to search jobs online. So we realized that all of these demands makes them depend on us. This situation is not limited to our district. It also occurs in the Southern District, another large area of social exclusion which is near of us. So once we realized that both areas share population ties to family, work, or friendship reasons, we decided to collaborate with a neighborhoods association, which is called Antonio Machado, to train their professionals and volunteers in online process so they can give a response to the same demands that we have in our community. Throughout the project, we had many group workshops to provide knowledge and transmit the necessary tools to use mobile phones for different things. I think this, thank you. We have also held individual sessions for those who have specific needs and needs. And in this way, we have empowered over 100 residents to become an agent of change in their community. Reaching an average of 300 residents with the transmission of this knowledge. The majority of the participants have been Spanish and Moroccan women, but numerous men and people from different backgrounds have also participated in our project. Okay, a moment. I don't know if I explain myself correctly, but basically we transmit to people of our community how to use the mobile phone and their laptop for the online bureaucratic process and for have a normal usage and manage of the new technologies. For example, the apps for the doctor, the apps for take the bus, the apps for asking something to the government, etc. And now I'm going to show you two videos of two of us participants. I'm going to ask them why they like to come to our workshops.
Yo también puedo. Pues la verdad, porque me han enseñado a manejar un poco el móvil.
She's saying that she's very happy because we teach her how to use the mobile phone. And now she wants to learn a lot of more things. Because it's very important for her to know new people of her community and have a near relation with people who is struggling with the same problems and with the same difficulties for use the new technologies. She's saying that she's coming with us to the workshops. She wants to learn more because she has special needs and she takes a lot of time to learn little things.
La casa de todos y lo que se hace. Y me estoy planteando meterme de voluntaria.
And now she is saying that she wants to be a volunteer in our organization because she's very happy with the workshops and she wants to teach another people and another person of the community as well she had learned. I don't know if I can. Yes. Here we have different photographs of the workshops. it's important to see this photo because you can see the diversity of our groups. We have all men, women, people from other countries, and the more important things of these moments are that they teach and they learn by each other for little things for the day by day. And every Friday they come to our organization and they share what they had learned, and they take more knowledge. Here another photo with same people or different person, because each Friday not the same people come to the workshop. Sometimes comes every Friday the same people, and other Fridays come people who just need to come one time, learn something, and then they transmit the knowledge, but they don't come anymore. The individual session, she is Estrella, the woman who had told in the last video, and she is Dolores. This is the first time she has a mobile phone, so we had to start to teaching her from the very best beginning. And here we are with the other association, the neighborhood association Antonio Machado. These two people of here are the workers, and they are volunteers that want to know how to make the process for example, apply for subsidies and help the neighborhood for the community. That's all. Thank you for listening. If you have any question, I hope that I could give you an answer. I don't know how to get out.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. It's interesting, and it's interesting to see how the different contexts and different countries have different approach in working on community development or social solidarity economy. So now our last contribution, we go back to Palestine, and we will have a very interesting cooperative. It's the Holy Land Handicraft Cooperative. And we will have a Basima who will contribute and share with us some thoughts about this cooperative. And they are part of our partner in MedRiSSE project.
Yeah, hi, how are you? Thank you for the introduction. Yeah, as you mentioned, we are a cooperative founded in '81, and we are located specifically in Bethlehem. And we are part of the World Fair Trade Organization. So we are committed to the ethical and sustainability practices and always in charge or to promote the handicraft sector. Also, we have a souvenir shop and export the handicraft of our artisans. As all of you know, in February, the crisis of the coronavirus started to spread and shaking the world, affecting the health and destroying the economy in all over the world. So we had been locked since 5 of March 2020 until June 2022. Bethlehem depends 85% of the tourism. We have a lot of workshops here, and a lot of our people depend on this kind of work, which is olive wood handicraft and the mother of pearl, and in Hebron, the ceramic. So it was really a terrible situation. The people were afraid. They didn't know how or what we will do. So we thought that the to sustain the development in a way, it's to secure the future of our coming generations. The handicraft means is here it's our identity also. When we are speaking about this kind of work, it means that we are from this land, and the things that we are doing in many cases represent a lot of our story here in the Holy Land. So in this time, many of the workshops were closed, and we were working with the MedRiSSE project, and they were really incredible with us because maybe we changed the project 3 times. And do you know, in Palestine, always the situation is changing, and sometimes we have political situations, and sometimes at the end, the problem of the coronavirus, it was in all over the world. So we thought, what we are going to do? We don't want that these people to close their workshops and to think that they should emigrate. This is a big problem that we are facing here, or to think to do something else, because we want to keep this kind of work to our future generations. So we changed our project again to MedRiSSE, and we told that we need to give to our artisans the raw material, like the olive wood and the mother of pearl. So we distribute this for free. They opened again their workshops and started to work and employed the people who were not able to work. Maybe with this project, we gave like to more than 300 people to start working again. So it was really the impact. It was so good for us, because when you are speaking about 40 or 30 workshops which were closed, and we were able to give them to start working again, this also means it's not just financially, but it was a lot of meaning for them, that they are someone who is taking care about them, and it helps them to think that, yeah, that we should keep on, we should do something. Also, we work with the project MedRiSSE with a very good team at Park. They made the business plan for us. We worked together, and our business plan, it was the best in our area, and we were invited to go to Tunis with very new experience there. Also, we made with them a digital marketing to the artisans and to the employees. Also something which was very good, because in the time of the corona, everything was closed, and they started to know, and until now they know how to offer their products through their own pages. This is the, let's say, the thing that we were able to do, and we hope that we will keep on working with MedRiSSE and with any project that always can guarantee stability in our country, and also to give them and to work with them with a good and ethical practices. Thank you.
Thank you, Basima, for your contribution. I'm sorry if there's noises, but there is some, it's not manageable here. There's air flight, so it's, you know, this is the Palestinian case. So
thank you.
Sorry. So now I will open the floor for discussions and contributions. I think it was really interesting to see the different contexts and how the surrounding situation always impacts us in different ways. And it's interesting to see how, for some people, whenever there is some difficult situation, it's the place where they can find ways or strategies to survive this situation. So we talked about the coronavirus, we talked about the occupation and its impact on Palestinian context. We talked about even in Spain, it's different experience with educating maybe older generation around using technology, which is very important in these days. So I will open up the floor. So if you have any contribution in any language, of course, Arabic or English, because this is what we have today, you are welcome. So anyone like to say or comment or contribute? I think Hossam, if you like to start, you have some comments you'd like to share with us. You wrote something on the chat, but I will invite you to collaborate. Hossam? Okay, it seems Hossam is not here, but he has some comments about the cooperation with the Ministry of Labor which should integrate the experience of social and solidarity economy and look at the experiences of the other countries to enhance this concept with the regulation, policy regulation, and action plans to enhance the view of micro businesses of this concept in particular way. So I don't know if you are with us, Hussam, and you would like to explain or clarify your idea. Okay, so maybe later on we'll go back to Hussam. Anyone like to say, Mr. Zawad?
Thank you for giving this opportunity. Actually, I want to comment on what Hussam wrote in the chat, that we as an organization, we were part of, as a sub-grantee of this program. Yes, we coordinated with Ministry of Labor, and we always coordinate with the Ministry of Labor. And also we bring the outside experience through our staff. We have a partnership with Silicon Valley company that who's responsible and playing a role in entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. And we are getting this experience to Palestine through our trainers and the staff. And we really encourage yes to get experiences from outside in these social enterprises and enterprises. We encourage everyone to do that. So thank you.
And I think we had really interesting webinar in the previous sessions where we discussed the collaboration between the different SSEs and the governmental organization and how that impacts the kind of social solidarity economy and the situation of marginalized groups. So thank you. Any other contributions or comments or questions? Okay, so I will go back to Dr. Imad Sayrafi and to ask him how we can guarantee the inclusion of the SSEs of the social solidarity economy in the different levels of poverty reduction, and how that can impact the different situation and different contexts as you think.
I mean, a very big question, but part of what the other colleagues were saying, Mr. Hussam, and part of the experiences that we just heard really show sort of different understandings and approaches to what social and solidarity economies can be. So we have one example, which is young people creating income generating opportunities with some connection, different forms of connection to either the social dimension or the cultural dimension. We saw some examples that are also related to sort of production and protection from the occupation, and also local consumption and local production, which is also important. We also saw examples of the more cooperative model. So, I mean, this is sort of in addition to, you know, discussions of on the experience from Spain, which is also offering services to the community, etc. So, I mean, the idea, I guess, how this can work, again, these are important ways of sort of restructuring the economies, and this is a trend that is happening globally. So, I mean, at this point, we can only hope that such models are on the rise and become more interconnected together, that somehow lead to a stronger local economy that is more conscious in terms of production and consumption. At the same time, recognizing the very difficult context we are in relation to the occupation, the control over borders, the resources, etc. So this has to also work with other aspects such as international law, advocacy, and interaction with the policy level, as was discussed by the other colleagues working together with government organizations to create such models. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for this sum up. And maybe I just was thinking whenever we were listening to the different experiences here, and how that will be. Is it possible to unify one approach working on social solidarity economy, or we need to take or to put in consideration the social context, the political context as well?
I mean, this is differences in opinion. Because there are really different approaches that come from and that offer really different ways. Some models are more individual oriented or more private business oriented. Cooperatives, there's different levels of what it means in terms of the social level. I mean, when we saw the cooperative model, we saw more thought towards the other members and producers, etc. So I think this is so definitely. I mean, there should be more awareness of which models fit together and what is really meant by social and solidarity economies. How can this fit with the different models, and to make this connection clear for each form of economic business, etc.
Yeah, and maybe this is kind of especially in Palestine with this surrounding situation, it is a good approach sometimes, let's say, to resist all the restrictions and all the limitation that people have here, especially with the high percentage of unemployment and the increased percentage of poverty. And I think this is some common issue, the poverty in most contexts, as we say.
Yes, I mean, definitely there's one positive aspect, and like this is also one thing that we saw in the cases where we have young people creating their own opportunities, but also thinking about how they can, frame it in a way or to make this connection to the local context, which is really important and can be taken further.
And the interesting things that how you see this young different initiative, they start to look on other alternatives, because in a few years or in our culture or tradition, people look for to be employed within the government as a secure place. But now people start to realize that there is more alternative things. So we saw people coming from different specialties who chose to do something else in order for them to survive the unemployment situation.
Yeah, I think the main issue is that there are already research going into the future of the job market with the increase in technology, artificial intelligence, etc. Some sectors are expected to become smaller, particularly as some sectors of employment. Some sectors are expected to expand. So it's also important to think that jobs in the future will not be the same as jobs today. So this is really important.
Yeah.
I think,
Mr. Jawad.
I want to add here actually also related to enterprises and social enterprises, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship and these ideas from youth that we can develop and generate revenue. First of all, there is very high expensive importing goods from Palestine. It's very expensive to import. Also exporting also is very expensive. So it's not easy for you to export and import things. Another thing is getting payment online from outside is very expensive. It wasn't even possible maybe 2 or 3 years back, but now it's possible with a high cost because we don't have that trust from online payment mechanism from outside. Also, the social norms affecting the freelancing, especially when it comes to females. We have facing lots of challenges of social norms of the freelancing because most of parents, they want their daughters or wives or whatever to work in the closest PA sector. So social norms also affecting. So it's not easy. So the political situation and the security situation is affecting the enterprises and social enterprises in Palestine.
Yeah, I agree with you because of many things. I like to go to our partners if any would like to contribute and comment or to give us some feedback or thoughts. So I don't know, from Jordan, Tunisia, or Italy or Spain. Okay, then.
If you allow me, Dr. Salah,
Yes, Dr. Ahmed, go ahead.
I would like to ask our Dr. Serafi how he thinking, how he evaluate the situation in Palestine regarding the social solidarity economy comparing with our neighboring countries. I mean, if he thinking that the situation and the challenges we have in Palestine affecting positively on the increasing the social inclusion economy here in Palestine comparing with other neighboring countries in Mediterranean countries.
I think, what we are seeing in the rise of social and solidarity economies, etc., is not limited to Palestine or the area. It's more of a global trend. It's also linked to the idea that these structures were more resilient during financial crisis. So there was a lot of praise for these models by the ILO and such organizations. So today we are seeing them increasing globally. But the challenges we have in Palestine, nobody has them. Our colleagues were talking about difficulties in accessing financial tools, difficulties in being, accepted as into the international systems and the international community. So our situation is definitely more challenging than any other country. And our colleague was also speaking about challenges in import, export. We know from experience some young people were trying to create products, Palestinian products. Their materials, their raw materials were being held back at the Israeli ports. Some businesses collapsed because of this, in addition to competition with Israeli products. So I think our reality is really more complex. Our local economy is in need of more protection.
Yeah, I am asking because we have some experiences working on rural areas, as you mentioned, as you expert in this area. We electrified some communities in rural areas where it's called, as you mentioned, Area C. And we found that such as projects providing electricity, water for this community can help them in production and help them in increasing the social solidarity economy within the local market, even in the local market. Such as projects, I think, can be helped.
Yes, I think this very important point in areas where you have really problems with services, water, electricity, infrastructure, sewage. There's a lot to be done in these areas, and Also, employment is really important in these areas. Not all areas are the same, but some areas have a high level of unemployment dependence on the Israeli market. So I think improving the services in these areas and in the research we do it's always, you know, these sorts of things really help people who do not have, you know, other ways to cope with the very difficult realities. So I think, yes, these are really important issues.
Thank you. Maybe the last question, do you think we have regulations and laws, let's say, managing the social solidarity economy projects here in Palestine?
I mean, I know about you know, that we have improving sort of the cooperative, there's work improving the laws guiding the cooperatives. However, I mean, there are some critiques from the cooperatives about some issues related to the law and how they are practiced. I don't know if things are changing now, but for example, the issue of tax exemption for cooperatives, also the issue of the number of people necessary to register cooperatives, the issue of whether cooperatives want to institutionalize and become formal or not. But I mean, I think that it's good that the policy level there is interest in improving the situation. But yeah, I mean, it's not all working in the more formal way. There are some who prefer to stay informal, etc. But looking at experiences of other countries, we see really huge cooperative sectors of thousands of producers, for example, different levels of the production process. I know I'm speaking mainly on agriculture, etc. But we know that it's much larger than this. Yeah.
Thank you.
If you allow me to take the last contribution from Inas. Inas, are you with us?
Yes. Thank you. I'm going to give you my feedback on the webinar, if you allow me. I'm participating as a guest, and thank you for Barak because they shared the link of this webinar on their Facebook page. So we as a part of the community can know about the accomplishment of your project and the interventions of the young ladies that they benefit from this project. I'm very happy to hear that there are some women who could like face the challenges and they could identify their needs and compare it with the need of the local market and then start their creative initiatives. So if you can make written stories and publish it on the different social media platforms so the others in the society can encourage to do the same. You know that we have a lot of graduated ladies and also all the youth in the community who need like support even through the few words in order to start their small economic business and to benefit from the existed opportunities, even it is not large opportunities, but they can benefit from the experiences from the others. They can start it from here. Thank you very much for sharing your stories, and I'm happy that the local organizations are really supporting the youth in Palestine and the other countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Inas. And I think I agree with you. This is a very important issue that we have to publicize the success stories. We always say that, and we try to do it through our different tools. And I think that most of our partners are trying to do the same. And I think Ifan is sharing with you here as well something around the webinar on YouTube channel where people can subscribe and watch and follow up with our different activities in most contexts, but this is also an invite for all participants who are part of any social solidarity economy projects or initiatives to publicize it and to let people to learn from each other, as you said, Ines. So we totally agree with you, and this is a good way to invite the different organizations, different partners to share more success stories so we can learn from each other and also enhance other people to participate and to start their own initiatives. So this is the final call. If anyone wants to say anything or to contribute or comment. So if we don't have any, so I would like to thank all of you for being with us. And I would like to thank our guests today, starting with Dr. Imad, who really gave us a very interesting background and also a good, very interesting point to think about when we talk about social solidarity economy. And I think it was clear that how the context of Palestine is different from different other contexts, because we have the different layers of restrictions from the Israeli colonial power, and then we have the different limitation with our government, and then we have the different problems we have. So this is kind of double issues that we have in Palestine, different than others. And I would like to thank our contributor and different initiatives, Asala, the Flowerland, the Holy Land Handicraft, and the Association La Casa de Todos as well for their contribution. We really learned from you all, and we hope to see you soon in our next webinar, which we will inform you again about it. Thank you all for your contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you, Samah. Thank you.